Yes.
Still don't know.
Good Saturday morning, afternoon, evening, half a day, guten tag, wherever you are in the world. Hope you're having a great day thus far. For those having birthdays today, happy birthday to you. Those having anniversaries, same. Look, whatever you do, don't feel obligated to go out there and go broke for some Christmas gifts. Because that's not the reason for the season, man. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know, them kids, your kids, make memories. That's a better gift. You look back, they can't tell you what they got for Christmas 10 years ago, but they can tell you about that trip you took.
Oh, yeah.
Kids, make memories with your families, man. That's all I'm saying. Don't. What's going on, Inspector Nacho? How you doing, man? Good to see you. I'm glad you out. But yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. Don't go broke. Don't cause stress on more stress. Life is stressful as is. Don't cause more than what you need to have. And not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just saying, I'm just opening up because one of the things we're talking about today deals with kind of like, facing those tough challenges. And so we're going to bring it on in with the crew for the day. We got Mike Gonzalez. What's going on, Mike? All the way from Texas, Tejas. Corpus Christi area?
Corpus Christi, South Side.
We got Matt Johnson. What's up, brother?
Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Doing good. You still in Colorado?
Still here in the mountains.
Is it snowing?
It did, but then it melted away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, sort of good. I mean, they knows how to do the roads over there. I'm thinking like places down south that get snow that don't have trucks and salt.
Everything shuts down till January, man.
The whole state shut down. They'd be like, it's gonna snow. Oh, we forgot to get them trucks again. No salt, none of that. It's crazy. So yeah, man, look, our topic for today's discussion is coming from David Rock, and it is how to convince yourself to do hard things. This is an interesting read. What you guys, I mean, it's crazy, right? Because it's like, you kind of deal with it often, but you don't think about it. It's like, you don't like intentionally like be like, okay, how do I deal with hard things? It's like, you just kind of make that decision like, I'm going to deal with it, or nope. I'm going to press this easy button and wrap it up and get on and do what I got to do. When a lot of times, you have to, man. If you want to grow, the analogy that always sticks in my head with growth is you got to plant a seed for it to first, that pressure causes it to die and then sprout open. So I'm not a farmer, so I don't know if I said that right.
It works.
Don't get on my Twitter or whatever. I don't even have no Twitter. Don't get on my feed talking trash about that guy. Stay in your food inspection lane. By the way, did y'all see those videos? Oh my God. The people. And I know, no. It said you can't eat at everybody's house, right?
Oh, those? I've seen those videos.
Thanksgiving morning.
It had the dude like slicing the meat with his toes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
That one hurt.
Yeah. So, yeah, that threw me off. Anyways, y'all got anything y'all want to say about this article before we jump into the article? You can't eat at everybody's house. You can't eat at everybody's house. I'm just saying. No. That food inspector kicked in and was killing me. He was like, "Oh, shut him down." It's like, yeah. All right, so the summary is when we're tired or stressed, our brain wants to save mental energy and help us make decisions quickly. Those are facts. It's not always bad. It actually works out well sometimes. But you got to know when not to lean on that easy button. Again, this article is by David Rock. You can find it in the Harvard Business Review under neuroscience. All right, so ask anyone how they're feeling these days, and chances are they'll reply with some version of exhausted. I didn't agree with that because because in the military, most of them are gonna be like, you know,
It's Monday.
it's Monday. It is what it is.
They're still exhausted. They just don't admit it.
Right. We're tired of operating amid uncertainty. Yes, we're tired of balancing childcare with work. We're tired of staffing shortages. Staffing shortages and supply chain problems. Those hit me. Those was like, it's like every unit, right? Like, oh, it's short. And then you find out that the Army says, well, we'll staff you up to about 85% of what you're supposed to. I'm like, hold up, what's the purpose of having 100%? This is what I'm supposed to have, but this is what you can give me. And oh, by the way, can you give me the ranks that I need? Because you said that's what I need. Yes. Shortages and supply chain problems. Whew. When we feel like this, our brains want to save mental energy by directing our focus to the most readily available, recallable information to help us make decisions quickly. We often do this by going with our gut and making our best guess. Now, real quick, when you log into your computer saves a lot of the stuff that you do into the cache and the cookies, right? So that the next time you go to those places, it makes it faster. So it's kind of like that. When you do certain things, so that you don't have to recreate the wheel. I did this before. Yeah. Bam. You know. Now, I'm saying that because that's the good side of it. But there is a bad side of it. Not necessarily a bad. It's a shadow side to it. Let's say a shadow side instead of like a bad side. This is called expediency bias. Doing the thing that feels right or rushing to judgment without properly considering all the variables. The brain does this because it's much easier to process existing ideas than new ones. Yep. A principle in psychology called fluency. It's also how you learn different languages and all that stuff because you keep on doing it more fluently. It's the reason why if you speak Spanish, it's much easier to learn Italian than Japanese. It's also why, as explained by marketing professor Adam Alter, many people think $2 single bills are more valuable than a single $2 bill. Have you ever did that to a kid? You gave him like 3 ones and they gave you that 20. Hey, I'll trade you. You got 3.
You got more.
Yeah. It's like, smart kid, but you got over him. The result is that many of us are naturally inclined to do what simply feels right. Be that asking people to come back to the office because our brains can picture it, or making an assumption that everyone wants a 4-day work week. That wouldn't be bad in all cases. And the hedonic principle also comes into play. We are wired to move towards things that make us feel good and away from things that make us uncomfortable. Our brains tag effort as bad because it's hard work. In a lot of cases, they default to what feels normal. The network that tells us where and how to travel through our daily existence. Those networks are so deep in our thinking that when we're traveling a new and challenging path, regardless of what the path is, our wheels default back to the worn-in grooves. And yet, we know hard actions can have tremendous benefits, ones that may not be visible for some time. Drop a pin right there. All right, so that was a lot. He kind of worked his way into it, but he said a lot, right? Humans are creatures of nature. Creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit, and that creature of habit thing has kept us and sustained us for a long time. Is the reason why we're. There's an obvious reason why we are the number one creation, but when we only had spears. Because of our habits, we learned to create new habits. When that saber-toothed tiger was out there, it was like, they're gonna walk this path right here about this time. Get them. And they was like, you know what? I need to develop some type of armor or something. I gotta develop something to get rid of this thing. And so it's both of them working. Once we find something, once we do the hard work to find something that works in our favor, then it's not hard anymore because we create the habit of doing that.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I was getting from it, man. What do you guys got? What do y'all think about this? I'll lean off with you, Matt. What you got?
It's a lot easier to do things that we're comfortable with, obviously, and we're wired that way because that's how we get things done. The problem comes in when we're unable or unwilling to do a little bit more, and that's where, specifically in the military, that's where we get in trouble as seniors with that whole, this is the way it's always been done, just shut up and do it type of thing. Because one, I don't want to take away from the productivity time to listen to you with your new idea, and two, all the time it would take to implement those ideas is just overwhelming. Not to mention, this way is proven, and we don't even know if your way is going to work. So it's that fear of effort, it's that fear of failure, and then that fear, obviously, of the new that's unknown. We can be pulled into that very quickly and easily, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I like how you put that. You put fear in it. A lot of times, that's what's causing it's that block that's causing people to move forward. Because it's that fear. It's like, ooh. What you got, Mike?
You were mentioning earlier about a 4-day week, which is great. I would rather work 4 10-hour days, and I'm good. But I think people, they're stuck in their, I work from this time to this time because I have other things to do over here, and it gives me time to do the things over here. Where a lot of them being like, I really don't want to because I don't want to change my life to where it was, even though it might be easier, have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off and just work Monday through Thursday. But a lot of people, I guarantee you about 80% of the people are like, I don't want to change my life because I'm set here and this is where I'm at. And a lot of things with that, with me growing up, I always did the easy homework and then never did the hard homework. And I would get in trouble for that class. And it's not because I didn't understand it. It's because it was like, it's too much. Let me just do the vocabulary and let me do this and this. And I'll wait for this later on tonight after I come back to play. You come back, you eat dinner, hurry up, get in the shower, go to bed. I'm like, wait, I need my math homework. And that becomes a habit as well. So I've learned, my dad said, do the hard stuff first for that hour or two, go play, come back. Your vocabulary, you can knock out in 30 minutes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always been set to me, where I've always done things the hard way, good or bad. I've always taken the less beaten path. It's hard to do that. But like you said, once you start making that step, it's easier. And I tended to punish myself. I used to live next to a gym on purpose and next to the grocery store. I was single. I didn't want to drive anywhere. Come home. And then when I was lazy and I'd look outside and it was raining, I was like, put on your rain gear and walk to the gym on a Saturday, which was, I don't know, maybe a 5-minute walk. But that would force me to stop being little B and get to work because it's got to get done.
Right.
And I've always had that mindset, but it's easy to fall into that 5-day week to make that change to have a 3-day weekend. I don't see it as a 4-day week. I see it as a 3-day weekend.
Right.
Because I know Friday's coming and I got things to do and I'd rather squeeze them out then. And I think it's a lot of it is viewpoints and people are stuck here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me ask you this. I pose this question to both of you. In reality, who actually works 8 hours a day? Right? So you're already punching that clock for that amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
So if they just went ahead and said, you know what, we're just going to pay you for these hours that you punched, and we're going to give you a 3-day weekend every weekend. Because you already work for it. You're already working for it. Make that the norm instead of the exception, right? And then, like, if you have to come in on that other day, it's one of those, working, hey, if those who didn't get whatever done, you can come into the office, but it's a normal day off for everybody. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Because you're already doing it. On an average, Matt, you're still active. What's your average work day time? I know you focusing on you're being intentional about time because family time is important. But what's the average work day time for you?
At least 9-10 hours.
Right.
If we don't consider PT work time, which it absolutely can be,
It
because
is work time. Yeah.
communicating. Then you look at work actually starting closer to 8 than 9 when it's supposed to. Rarely taking a lunch more than run to the PX or the shopette and grabbing some food, or if you bring something, even better / worse, because it takes less time to chow that down. You get no break. And either meetings or doing paperwork or reviewing things, and then 5 o'clock you're kicking people out of the office so you can finish up the work that you need to get done, making yourself leave maybe by 6. Yeah. Not 8 hours for sure.
Not 8 hours.
No.
Before we moved on, Mike, you said something that was a really good point. Doing the hard thing first. Doing the new thing first, too, I think, is also really important, because it can be just this insidious little worm in your brain. Like, yeah, you're good at vocabulary. Yeah, you're good at math. Yeah, you're good at doing this, but this thing you've never done before. And you give yourself that much more time to build up that negative talk and that worry that by the time you get to it and finish it, you realize was completely unwarranted.
Yeah.
You do that new thing first, and you can, one, you've got all the energy up front to say, hey, this is the new thing I'm going to do. And 2, now you've got that confidence behind you of, hey, I just did a new thing. That was pretty cool.
It wasn't so bad.
Exactly.
It wasn't so bad. The fear, that's when the fear kicks in, and it's like, how am I going to start? I've never done this. What's a good place? And I think the best way to do it is just to do it.
Yep.
And learn along the way. It's like, okay, well, this didn't work. Let's try this out. And before you know it, at the end of the day, it's like, okay. And now you have a new easy thing.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my wife, because she kind of talked to me about that with my doctorate degree that I started. I'm almost at the end of my first class, and although it's not easy, it's not the monster that I was, battling with starting. You know what I mean? It was like exactly what you guys are just saying right now. It was like, oh no, man, I'm not gonna be able to do it. I hate writing. I got past all these things. I'm not trying to research. All these different things, and it's like, it's not as bad as. It's not the big, scary monster that I thought it was. It's just like, okay, I've already been dealing with this guy before. Maybe a little fine-tuning here or there. Just small things, but definitely not that monster under the bed that I thought it was. So that's good, man. That's really good. Appreciate you guys saying all of that. All right, where did we end at? And think about starting a new exercise routine. Maybe we have an insight. If I can run a mile, I have more energy to play with my young kids. That generates an impetus for action. Or maybe a doctor told us it's a requirement for a lifestyle change, or an incentive pops up to spur us on. But a funny thing can happen. When we go for that initial run, it doesn't feel good. Neither does the next run or the run after that. Our muscles hurt. The money we spent on the new hobby caused friction in our household. The schedule keeps us from quality time we used to spend catching up with friends. It compounds, continuing to signal all the reasons we should go back to the way it was before, because this is how it's always been. We always did it like this. You see, it don't, but friction is what causes the iron to sharpen, right?
Oh yeah.
You can't, I don't want to be a butter knife. I want to be, that silky smooth when it goes through that ninja boy. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yes. So I must hurt the money we spend on new hobby. It causes friction in the household. The schedule keeps us from quality time. It compounds, continuing to signal all the reasons why we should go back to the way it was before. When our muscles didn't hurt, when we grabbed drinks with our friends, when we didn't fight with our partners over spending $100 a month on a gym membership. I want to know what gym they're going to.
I was thinking that too. Say, what are you doing, bro? Don't become the trainer.
Even with the trainer, it's not $100. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in Hollywood somewhere.
Probably.
I don't know. They're training with with The Rock. I don't know.
Carrying The Rock.
Yeah, The Rock and John Cena together. They personal training you. I don't know, man. Yeah. But you should probably check that out. There's commercials out there. There's resources out there. If you're paying $100 a month for a gym membership, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Now what you can do is you can go down there and get the $20-something, $25, $30 gym membership. Do the 30-day challenge or try it, and then try another one the next month. Keep doing all those.
There you go.
And notice how they say anybody's names, any gym's names or anything like that. But there's a lot that do it. They want you to come in and check them out, and a lot of them just open their songs back up or their steam rooms, which I love. So
thank God.
Anyways, so how do we do hard things when our brains constantly tell us to avoid effort? How do we do, Mike?
Well, it's where you're at mentally as well. If you're decently at a good mental level, it's a lot easier. And when you're not, it's going to be a lot harder. But like we've been talking about, you have to keep at the grind, because without the grind, nothing's sharpening. I think you just have to keep doing it, but you have to have this mental fortitude where you always have to walk to the grinder. You gotta walk to the grinder. I keep saying these grinder things because I just bought a lathe and I gotta sharpen my lathe tools, and they dull fast. And you're trying to force this dull chisel into this oak log. You're just scraping it. Go back to the grinder and keep on doing it. And I've been at it for the past 2 hours, and I'm in it's my second project, but you gotta walk up to, and you gotta face the music when it comes to, if you don't walk to it, your life's gonna be tougher in the long run. And you just gotta keep at the grind, and you gotta mentally stay there and chisel away at your low point and gently rise. And people want to be here by Tuesday. Yeah. And it's like, that's not how it works. It might take several years. That's right. Several years. And you just gotta face the music and actually do it and force yourself to do it. How to force yourself to do it? I mean, you gotta mentally dwell and stay at this semi-positive level. That little bit is gonna help you climb, but you gotta stay here, and you also gotta hang out with good people.
That's right.
You hang out with a bunch of negative Nancy's, they're gonna keep you down here. And when I was talking to all these troops at the barracks, like, dude, stop hanging out with negative people that can't wait to get out. They're gonna bring you down. They're gonna keep you there, and you gotta get out of that. It's to me, it's all mental. Once you get past that, it's gonna be smooth sailing after that. I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. But you said something key. We had we see people at where they are, and we assume that we could just get to where they are without knowing what they did to get to where they are.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you see the professional players on the stage, and they look young, but you don't know that work that they had to put in to get there.
They've been doing this since they were 4.
I was watching Shaq's Shaquille O'Neal's thing last night. And, he's a military brat. He was in a lot of the places that I grew up in when I was there, in a couple of the places. I remember I was school talking about having to play against them, and this big dude who's coming in, he's gonna kill everybody. My dad talking about this kid, as a service member, talking about this kid who's gonna be phenomenal, right? It was just crazy. But then he talks about the work that he had to put in, how hard his dad was working on him. The coach, his LSU coach, who told him, a 13-year-old kid gave him a workout plan. He sent him a letter. It wasn't no email back in the day. He wrote him a letter. 13-year-old kid said he want to try out for the team. Anything he could do to get his lower extremities right. Now, mind you, he's 13, but he's really tall. He had that growing condition, and so his legs and stuff was hurting because his bones was growing faster than his muscles can keep up or something like that.
Yeah.
And the coach gave him these workouts. And 13-year-old kid, on your own, most of the time they're not gonna, they're gonna be like, you know what, I'm gonna go and do whatever. But he had the people that was placed in his life that would help him keep that stability and maintain that goal that he wanted. And he did it. He did those exercises and those workouts and ended up playing for that college coach who actually recommended that he quit college and go ahead into the NBA because they were trying. Remember when they was hacky-shacking him in college? When they were just beating him up. But the coach ran on the floor on one of them and was about to fight a player because, they was just trying. I didn't know this, this whole time. I was a, sort of fan when he was in Orlando. But it just stood out for me was we were reading this article and he did the hard thing. He wasn't doing the easy thing. He did what was, he wanted something. His dad told him, if you want this, you follow my guidance and direction, I can get you there. But it's not going to be easy. Now, how many people do we all know that we told them, I can make you a millionaire. I can make you very successful. But it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you open up the good book, he said, I can get you there. I ain't say the road was going to be full of daisies. I'll get you there. Trust the process. Matter of fact, it says that the rain falls on the just and the unjust. Everybody's gonna have hard times. It's what you do in those hard times. So, yeah, I cut you off, Matt. What you?
No,
got?
you're good. You're good.
Yeah, one good point in it leading into the sports, professional performers of any kind. People have a tendency to have that, aren't they talented, or weren't they lucky, or didn't they have, or didn't they come from? Yeah, you know what? Maybe they did. They obviously do have talent, but at the same time, talent without intent, without the drive and the continuing struggle is easily wasted. It's easy to sit down and say, yeah, you know what? I can sing great, but I don't want to go out there and struggle against these other people. Yeah, you know what? I'm a natural when it comes to football, basketball, soccer, shooting, whatever. But I don't want to really compete, or I'm afraid to lose. Any of those things can be massive setbacks that knock a person on their butt and take the biggest chunk of talent the universe has ever seen and make it a couch potato.
That's right.
And like we all know, especially when we talk about physical fitness, getting back into the gym, doing all these things, we all have had that 06:30 start off PT, which means waking up at 5 o'clock or earlier to get there, pushing ourselves to do it, pushing our people to do it.
That's right.
And even at that 20 years and more, we can still look at ourselves and go, well, I didn't make it, because there is no make it. Educationally speaking, yes, you are working towards your doctor's degree, which is amazing, by the way. I'm eventually going to get the drive to do that. But once you get that, you will realize, and probably even more so then, you didn't make it, because there is no end to that.
Yep.
It is a continual struggle. But the more we struggle with it, the more we make ourselves do it, the better we are at doing it.
That's right. That's good. That's one of my favorite quotes. I can't remember who it was, but they said, always remain a student of learning. And that's a paraphrase. That's what I took from it. Always remain a student of learning. And they was talking to leaders. Don't once you feel like you've made it, then you have absolutely missed the point. Because you got new people coming in all the time, and the only sure thing is change.
Yeah.
Right? That's the only sure thing. And if you want to look at it and even deeper, people I don't change. Well, you're getting older. You're absolutely changing. I can guarantee you that. I did not have this. I was not. It was not all white. It had some color to it at one point in time. Yeah. So change, man. That's the thing. So once you understand that everything is always continually changing, getting older and growing, you have to understand that you have to always be learning, because the way we did things when we came into the military was not the same way that we did things when I got out of the military. Whereas we had wall-to-wall counselings. Hey, take off your tops. Let's go to the wood line. Now you got to be like, hey, come in. Let's sit down and let's have a chit chat. I don't even know, man. It's like it went from not being able to call soldiers privates anymore. We had to call them warriors. I'm like, that's not a warrior. What do you mean a warrior? He's not.
You gotta earn a warrior.
Yeah. He or she has not done anything in the military except raise their hand. I appreciate you coming in during a time of war, but you're not a warrior.
That's your step.
You're a private.
That's step one to becoming that warrior.
That's right. But they come in saying they warriors, and yeah. Anyways, I digress. So, back to the article we go. First, tackle them when you're in a good mood. We said that. A 2016 study found that when people are upset, they're less likely to try to do hard things. Facts. When they're feeling upbeat, however, they're more likely to take on the hard but essential tasks that ultimately make life better. One way we can get ourselves in the right mindset is to do what's called reappraisal. Did I say that right? Reappraisal. In which we create a shift in our brain of how we perceive a task. This is good. There's another way to another thing that comes to my mind. Reappraisal can be incredibly effective when we choose one simple sticky word or phrase that labels where we want to be. Projecting. For example, literally saying to yourself, I'm going to feel better once I get this new process down on paper. Might be enough to get your brain out of an unproductive loop. Writer's block. Yes. Sometimes the best thing is just to sit down and put something on the paper. I'm going to get down. I'm going to sit at my computer and I'm going to write something. I'm at least start this is me. I'm speaking on my own self because I'm doing a lot of writing. I'm like, I don't know what I'm writing about. I don't know. This is a stupid topic. Why they got me doing blah, 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 blah. And then come all the way down to the last minute. But when I say, you know what, I need to do this early, let me go ahead and do X, Y, Z. I'm gonna read my sources. I'm gonna reference everything. I'm gonna get all this stuff done. Let me just do the form. Let me do the shell. You know, you got your APA, your MLA, you got your Caribbean, Chicago, whatever it is. Let me go and set that up. While I'm at it, let me go ahead and set my reference page up and all that stuff, and I can go ahead and start setting this stuff up. And now I'm working. And what was a huge mountain, I'm just taking pieces out of it, and it's becoming easier. I'm not saying writing's easy. I'm just saying, like, for me, every week it's a mountain that I have to mentally, take small pieces out of, and say, okay, I'm just gonna do X, Y, Z, and slowly before I know it, I got my 10, 12, 15 pages. Yes, that sucks.
So one thing that I heard a couple of authors actually make mention of, some of my favorite authors, they've said, when writing, you hit this point and you've got to finish this section before you move on to this section, because it's what develops, right? Mm-hmm. How are you going to do that? You get so stuck in spinning your wheels in this one section. They said, and just like writing a paper, they said, one of the best things to do is to say something interesting happened here, or Jack talked to Jill, or whatever, and then move on to what it is that your brain wants to write at that point. Yeah. It's going to develop. Boom, there it is. You know what? Let me go back to this. But you put that one clip there, even when you're writing a paper. Research such and such article, or look at this reference. Now let's move on to this next thing, because if you get caught up spinning your wheels on things like that, you become frustrated, you become disinterested, and that's when you give your brain that time to build that fear of, maybe I am no good at this, maybe I am going to fail at this. But you break it down into that process, like you were talking about, manageable chunks, and say, hey, this is something that I can do, this is something that I can set aside. This is something that I've already done that I look at and, hey, success already has happened.
Yeah, that's good.
You're saying spinning your wheels.
Yeah,
go
man.
Go ahead.
The Jewel Junkie said, what's poppin', Papa Gift and guest? What's up, Jewel Junkie? Getting ready for this ugly sweater Christmas party. I got my ugly sweater on.
Nice.
See, it's an army green.
Oops.
All right, what you got on that, Mike?
No, he was talking about spinning the wheels. And spinning the wheels get you stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And you ever driven in the mud? You don't want to spin the wheels. Spinning the wheels got you stuck. But talking about writer's block, I was taking this class. I think it was psychology class, and I went through the whole how do I write an essay? The problem went on like that, and then it mentioned writer's block, and the person that was writing the article had read that he was listening to Chicago, which is one of my favorite bands, and the song 25 or 624 came on, and that song was about writer's block. He wrote a song about not being able to write a song, and it was a hit. So the way he did it was he would just type, what am I going to write? And he would type his thoughts, everything he was thinking. What am I going to write? Oh, I got to cook dinner. Wait, I got to do. And then eventually it would flow into this thing, and it would force you to go back after you're done. It would go back and it would help you refine. Oh, I need more. And it starts the process.
Yeah.
And he tried the 25 or 64, according to this guy, is the writer of the song would do it for 25 minutes, and then he would smoke a joint for 5 minutes, and then 25, and then 5 minutes until he got it, or he would either write from 6 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. So what do I do, 25 or 64? I don't know what to do. And he wrote a song about not being able to write a song and how he did it or how he would do it before. So he's like, you know what, let me just write a song about writer's block. And that was the story about that. But
That's good.
he would type everything, but the guy would type every thought, and then eventually he would flow into what he needed to write.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would go back and delete the first dinner thing, delete that, and then forcefully read it off, the spell check or this or that, and it forces you to refine it.
Yeah.
And then you got to look for the rest of it. So you're constantly reading and rereading and rereading, and it helps you along the process. That's one way.
That's right. Look, you know what? Once you start feeling different, right? And so that's what it was talking about. Was about our brain, tricking our brains. Once you can force yourself to see something in a different light, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how when you say I can't, your brain literally stops putting forth effort to be able to. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I'm not able to right now. I haven't, figured it out yet. Versus I cannot do this. Right? And to this day, I still, whenever I find myself saying I can't, I try to rephrase it, because I don't want to stop my brain from being creative and ingenuity.
Ingenuity.
Yes, ingenuity. I don't want to stop that ability. I like being able to think outside the box. So, yeah, be careful how you see things and how you speak, because sometimes you can be speaking yourself into a trap. So the second thing, we must give our brain a time. When we have a choice, our brain often wants to default to something easy. It's just what it does. It's not necessarily easy. It's what it knows. It's habit. When we have a choice, our brain often wants to default to something easy. Remember those cookies in the cache? It's just it's what's built in there. But we can mitigate that response by challenging ourselves to be innovative and provide incentives. Yes, for example, instead of debating whether to make a healthy choice at lunch, ask yourself, do I want this fresh salad that's going to give me energy, or this donut that I felt sick after eating last time and made me sleepy? That actually works. That works. When I got food poisoning, I couldn't eat like red meat, but I'm from the South. I love red meat. I love beef. I love pork. I love, chicken, turkey. I love it. And so when I couldn't eat all those different things, one thing I have was like turkey bacon. It's fine. It's cool. But I'm from the South. I need real bacon. I need that good old pork belly. right? And so it got to a point to where I would have to think, like, do I want to go through the struggle of my body hurting, or I'm gonna eat this salad? It's still good for me. It's not what they're eating, but it's good for me, and I can have it right now. And it did. It would. Some days I just said, I didn't give myself that question. I just said, I'm gonna have this pork chop today. So, yeah, man, it works. It works. Just changing the way we think about things. And who is this? Dak and Man. Hi, I want to offer promotion to your channel. Viewers, blah, 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 blah. Oh, no. Thanks, appreciate it. Dak and Man King 5. Appreciate you, but I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, do I want this fresh salad? Put it into context. Do I want to experiment with a new project management tool that might make things easier for my team next week? Or do I want to stick with the same spreadsheet that a former employee established that none of us feel great about anyways? And I know we all can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What you got on that, Matt?
So what I said was doing things the same way they've always been done for no other reason than because it's easier than changing things, doesn't create or encourage a creative team atmosphere. We don't always have to say, hey, let's try the new thing just for the sake of new thing. We don't always have to give everybody an opportunity to say, hey, this is the way I want to do it every single time. But we do have to recognize that there are good ideas that can be implemented. And by reviewing them, those ideas within a reasonable amount of time, not like, hey, we've got 5 minutes till the meeting, why don't we try this? But, hey, next week, if between now and then we can talk about this and then think about implementing that in the following meeting. Yeah, absolutely. Totally outside of meetings. Everything else has its own time frame, and we have to consider what's reasonable for the one, consideration of, and two, development and implementation of new ideas. We do that, and we show people, one, we value their input. Two, we want them to be a part of the team and own their part of the team.
That's right.
And we're giving them that autonomy to say, I'm not only a team member, but I'm a team owner, right? And that's, you can see that in sports, you can see that in the military, you can see that in corporations. When your teammates own their part of the team, they want everything and everyone to succeed. It's not, I want to be the best. It's, I want to be the best team.
That's right.
It's not, I want to be the star player. It's, I want to be the star player on the best team, right? Absolutely. Everybody has their own personal goals and drive. And yeah, we all want to be the best that we can be, but you can't do that without a great team. And you can't have a great team without people that own their part of it and want to make it better.
That's right. Taking ownership of the team. That's right. You got anything on that, Mike?
I live on the concept of if it ain't broken, don't fix it. But at the same time, as Matt was saying, if you want to be part of the team, you gotta entertain new avenues of doing things, new plans. And as he was saying, but it's also, you gotta go into it with, well, let's do this. Take the lead and go with it, and I'll follow. Tell me where your plan is gonna be and see if it works. But going into it where it's like, all right, just give it to me. Hurry up. Let's just try it out. It's never gonna work. That's why you have to be a team player.
That's right.
You got to be a team player. My kids, when we go fishing, we got a couple of good fishing spots, and we catch. So I'm stuck saying, hey, I'm going to this fishing hole until I die. But to them, it's like, no, let's go try over there. It's like, dude, why you want to go over there? The fish are here, bro. Why you want to go over there? The fish are here. But the thing is, we didn't find that fishing hole by staying at the last one.
Right.
We found the fishing hole because let's try this out.
That's right.
And it gets better and it gets better. So I'm stuck here, and I was like, dude, I'm okay with these, 12, 13, 14-inch fish. But he wants to catch the well. I'm like, dude, just forget about the well. Let's just fish here. But we constantly go, and a lot of the times I'm stuck in like where, and it's always like, dude, we're not even going to catch anything here. And you just start, I don't even know why we're here. The whole time you're like, dude, shut the hell up and just fish, dude. Yeah. And enjoy the moment. And then boom, he catches a nice flounder. It's like, oh, okay, they're here. But you have to get out of that rut.
Yeah.
So it's all 90% of the game out there of life. It's all mental. If you're not ready for the grind, if you're not ready for the new fishing hole, you're going to be stuck there. Woodworking, I mean, you start off with your little stool here and there, and before you know it, you get bored. It's like, I don't know how to use this tool. Let's buy it anyways. There's YouTube videos everywhere. And before you know it, I just bought a lathe yesterday, and I'm carving out freaking logs. A freaking stupid log that I cut down this spring. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm there grinding away. And it's frustrating. It's like, let me just step away and just go sit down and watch a couple of YouTube videos. But here I am waiting for her first project. I was like, dude, just give me time. Let me learn this machine. But I won't know if I could turn a bowl until I turn a bowl.
Hey, look, real quick, Mike. Matt, you're going to have to show him the coin holders that you just did.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I'll show you the one that Mike did for my retirement. I probably showed it to you already. The one that he did for my retirement has the 44th. I was about to say 44th Metcon, but it's no longer Metcon. 44th Medical Brigade it is now, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it's no longer Metcon. Yeah, he did one for me. He said, I hated that piece of wood. It was acting up.
Humidity kicks in. It starts bone. It starts cupping. It starts twisting. It's like, and I bought another one. It's popular. It's. I didn't want to make it too heavy because it's going to be expensive to ship. It's like, let me just get some poplar wood. That's good. And no, that's the worst wood ever. I just stuck with, from here on out, I just stuck with white oak, which is very plentiful here. I have a whole tree in the back that I cut down there.
There you go.
But yeah, wood. Sometimes you just want to choke it.
Yes.
Get right. Okay. All right. So finally, we can accomplish hard things by practicing the habits of a growth mindset and notice when we revert to old ways of thinking and behaving. To challenge patterns or systems that enable or inhibit new habits from taking hold, it's helpful to have the support of others. Team. Yeah. One way to do that is by sharing stories of trying in a setting where attempts are prized as much as the results. Team. For example, a team of executives recently tried to block off their mornings from meetings to get their best work done. Some individuals thrive while others prefer to do their deep thinking in the afternoon. A month after experimenting with scheduling, the team decided it wasn't working well because of conflicting time zones and opted for a different tactic, only making Monday morning free of meetings. By acknowledging the progress made by trying a new habit, the team was able to continue experimenting instead of just reverting back to old ways. And I had to read that a couple times because I was like, what is it saying? Basically, what I got from it was that they created an environment or atmosphere where we know that there's a better way to do it. We just haven't found it yet.
Yep.
Who has another idea? We tried this for a little bit. Let's try something else. But we don't want to sit in meetings all day on Monday.
Yeah.
And so that was it was good because when you create an environment where one, it's okay to fail, right? You fail forward, and it's okay to bring forward your ideas are counted. What do you say, Matt? You are part of the team. You have ownership in this team.
Yep.
Right. And when you do that, and then you say, hey, look, for me, this is what I believe would work, and then they say, okay, let's try it. And so when you do that, you're taking your team. You're only doing this, even when it doesn't work. It's still doing this because you're growing, you're changing, and everybody is now the juices are kicking in. And whereas the first time you might have had some people who was like, I don't know, man, I don't know, but then they were like, oh, let's try something different. Yeah, let's try something different, because you're creating that environment of we're always going to keep on. We got to be doing the new thing. We got to be doing the better thing. The better thing. Not necessarily the new thing, but the new thing is probably going to be, the better thing will probably be new. Now there are situations where if you're in the military, your leaders change every I'd say 2 to 4 years. And maybe there was a very good process that was in place, but because every leader that comes in feel like they got to change something, a process that was working very well was replaced by a process that just was a good idea fairy at work. And so it may take 3 or 4 leaders down the road, or people saying, hey, look, let's try this, to get back to that idea that some leader 3 years down the road had already put in place. So it's not always a new idea. That's why I say new isn't always the best, but it may be new to that organization because all those people have filtered away, and now we're going to go back to what we were doing. Unless you have some civilians there who remember, and that's what old crusty sergeant major so-and-so said. Right? Have y'all ever experienced something like that?
Yeah. Before said leader comes in, you're stressing 3 months before his or her arrival, expecting so hey, enjoy this because all this is going to be gone because Sergeant Major so-and-so is going to come on his horse and change everything for the worst. Oh, for the bad. Oh, what are we going to do now? And then you're waiting for that punch. And then it's there because change is change. And then it's like, oh, it's really not that bad. Because if it was bad, I would have gotten out in 4 years. Right. It's like, no, man, this change is not good for me. I don't want to play this game anymore. But eventually, it takes you up to 6 months to finally, oh, okay, this is not too bad. But you're already stressing about it before it even gets there.
That's right, pre-stress.
And that adds to whenever it gets there. It's like, here it comes. What are we gonna do now? And it's always gentle. Hey, how's it going, guys? Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, let's throw this monkey wrench into things. And it's like, here it comes.
Here, try it this way, guys.
Yeah.
What you got, Matt? I think you've been on both sides of that.
I have. Yeah. I've been on more than 2 sides of that one for sure. You know, it's like Mike was just talking about. You see that person coming in and you go, whoa, this is going to be terrible because someone's had experience with them. And or everyone fears that change because they just love the leader that you have right now. And then, you know, I've been that leader coming into that organization and going, okay, so I've seen it from the outside. There are going to be changes, you know, and you just know you're going to be the guy that's going to break some hearts because things are not going to be the way that they used to be.
Yeah.
And you know, being that person, one thing that we have to keep in mind, I think, is honest and unbiased assessment is necessary. When they say, don't make any crazy changes for the first couple of months, some people cannot help it. And you know, admittedly, there are some things that new leaders have to change immediately. Right. They definitely, there's a reason I was brought in here at this time in this way. We got to make changes. But for the most part, just one, check your ego and see if it's just you and your good idea fairy in your brain or your experience in the past that you're not willing to let go of and say, hey, there could be change. However, the change could be in me, right? Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Good idea, fairy.
But you know, with that too, we have to consider changing things for other people in the organization too. I don't want to say old people are bad at this, but older people are bad at this. We're getting slightly better, obviously, as it's brought up more into society, but we do have to consider that people respond differently to things. And the concept for me was when I was a staff sergeant, and it was told to me that, hey, not all of your soldiers are going to respond to you the way that you are. And my first thought, of course, Fort Drum, 8 years, infantry. My first thought was, they will eventually. Yeah, exactly. Because that's where we were raised. But the reality of that one, and thank God it hit me quick and hard in the face, and I took it to heart. The reality of that one is, if my methods aren't working for you, that means I'm not working for you. I don't have to change all of my morals and values and viewpoints in life. I just have to change my delivery so that you understand it.
That's right.
Right? And that's something that a lot of people are bad at, and it's something that a lot of people are very afraid of. You know, I fear personal change. Okay, well, you know what? You're going to age out of this organization eventually, and we'll suffer until you're gone. It's kind of what we've had to do in the past. But being that versatile leader, being that leader and or that teammate, regardless of whether you're in a leadership position or not, who's willing to say change could work, you're going to help build the team. You're going to help lead people to success.
Yeah, that's good. All right, I'm going to finish it out. Doing things that feel uncomfortable and like hard work can seem counterintuitive. But by understanding what's going on in your brain instead of in your gut, you can work toward accomplishing hard things and manage your fears better. I like how they put the fears at the end. Again, this was by David Rock. Talking yourself into doing those hard things. Taking the hard instead of the hard left instead of the easy right. It doesn't always mean that it's like something legal or immoral, you know what I'm saying? It's just, sometimes it's just, there's a process. Or like Matt was just saying, it's just your mindset. How do I deliver this? I'm not compromising. I used to always say, I don't be hugging those soldiers, you know? I don't be coddling those soldiers. But when a soldier breaks down, you right there, it's like life event happens. When you're like, you know, Army didn't issue you tears. What's wrong with you? No, you can't do that. You gotta be like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? You know, is the family, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's like, I was reading something the other day that was talking about how, you know, what would you say in this instance? And they was talking about the, what's the one that the young soldiers started talking about? Spouses. What was that term that they started using for spouses?
Dependers?
Yeah, dependers.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I hear what you're saying, but you know, military spouses are absolutely military strong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's a hard life, you know. That's why a lot of the relationships don't last, because it's hard. It's hard. It's hard when your loved one is putting themselves in danger. When you see that they're not being appreciated the way that you feel like they should be appreciated. You can't tell them they're not being appreciated the way that they should be appreciated, because they've been indoctrinated to, if I wanted you to have a family, I would have issued you one. Right? So it's when they were saying stuff like that, I was just like, you can't. I hear what you're saying. This group, this person, whatever, was acting like what you're calling them, but don't say that that's a general. Don't use that as a general. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. And so it's just one of those things where it's like you just gotta refresh. You know how? Okay, good example. You know, I'm a computer head. Sometimes you'll log into a website and that website will say, you know what, we have changed our location. Our domain is relocated. And the one that you have saved is not the button to take you there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you're still going to get to that same place. The address just changed, right? You just got to change. So now instead of you clicking the button, you got to delete that link, and then you got to go to Google or whatever, Bing, whoever you use, Safari, and search for the new site that you're trying to find. And then once you find it, you're going to build that cache and them cookies. So the next time you click the button, it'll take you right there. And that's the way I understood this thing. It's not necessarily bad. You know, it's not, you know, far left or far right. I think it's just one of those things it's really good to be intentional and conscious of the fact that doing something new isn't bad. Unless it's bad, don't do something stupid.
Right. Because it'll always be stupid.
They be like, hey, They were saying new stuff isn't bad. No. That's not what we're saying. See? Y'all almost got it. Doing something new is not bad unless it's bad. But it could be productive and it could make your, not just you, but the people around you, it could make the lives easier, make the work better. And that's what I was gonna say. That's what I was trying to go to. So before I finish, and I'm gonna let you guys go back to you guys before we close out. If you look at any organization, you'll find Lean Six Sigma individuals. So that's Lean in Six Sigma or Lean Six Sigma, and basically that is cutting the fat, that's cutting back, making the process improvement, right? And so what they do is they're always looking to make process improvement. They're paid a lot of money, whether you're a green belt, yellow belt, black belt, whatever belt you are. You're paid to go into an organization and see how they function and cut the fat. What are we doing? What extra steps are we doing that's unnecessary? Because every little step is extra time. Extra time in a lot of organizations equals extra money.
Yep.
Right? So it's, at the cost of whatever it is, how do we cut that back so that we could be more productive and our numbers can go up on our side? And so this is what that is talking to for me. You should always be looking for a better way to do it. Right?
Yeah.
Loading out, deploying, redeploying, safety stuff, training, right? All these different things that we take for granted. Because a lot of times when we take them for granted and when there is no changes and there's no training, what happens? We get complacent. Complacency kills. People get hurt, injured because they're already on autopilot. How many times you get in the car and you drove home and didn't realize how you got home? It's autopilot. You get in there, you'd be like, and then you'd be like, whoa, how did I? I know there's 6 lights on my way home. I don't remember one of them. So it's one of those things, man. Where change is good. Something new is good for all those reasons. Mike, what you got?
No, you hit everything on the dot. Everything that we've pretty much, everything that we've spoken about. It makes sense in a lot of ways with everything, but everything's got to come into everything. Everybody and everything's got to come into perspective. As Matt was saying, fear. Bucky's rules. Fear is the biggest stop sign.
Yeah.
Not knowing the outcome without even getting there is the biggest stop sign. It's like, just do it. Don't worry about the outcome. Worry about step number 1.
Right.
But just, doing it, it's easy. It's easy to do, but it's the hardest thing to do. You just got to take that first step and make that first step. Because all it takes is 1 step. Make that first step a common thing. A kid learning how to walk. Balance. Take that first step. And his or her head is like, oh, well, let's do this again. Before I know it, they're climbing the freaking sofa and jumping off the freaking. I'm like, but I think the whole, just to encompass everything, you gotta be, fear's good. Fear's necessary. But you gotta conquer that. And it's easier as the every time you take that step, it gets easier. It will. And then change, if you want to make change, it's easier when you just make change. But at the same time, everything's got to be in there. You can't come into it as like, this ain't gonna work. Why are we fishing here? Why are we here? This ain't gonna work. Let's just go back to our old place because we know it works. You got to find change, and you got to be open and willing to change. Because without any of that, nothing's gonna get done.
That's right. What you got, Matt? Close us out.
One of the things that we have to consider when it comes to fear, when it comes to new things, is therapy. Right? We're all afraid of something. We all want to work through something. Therapy cannot be effective if it's just you saying the same thing over and over again and hearing the same thing over and over again. Therapy cannot be effective if you are given a solution or a solution set to try, and it ends up being, well, that didn't work, so I'm never going to try anything else. Innovation and the ability to try new things is what creates success, right? And just like you were saying, Mike, If you break that down into that small step, and you take that first step, if you allow yourself to be paralyzed by that fear, you can get over that. You can. You have to be deliberate about it.
Yeah.
Put it down on paper. Talk it out with someone and say, why am I being stopped from doing this? Is there a physical force stopping me from doing it? No. Is there another person who has talked me out of it? Probably not. Is there a thing that's happened in the past that every single time I do this, I get an electric shock? No. The bear's not going to jump out of the closet every time I crack a book. So let's write it down and say, what is it that is stopping me? And if it simply comes down to fear of failure, okay, find a little win. Right? I mean, that's something that we do in the Army all the time. Little wins. What was your little win? Well, I got to eat lunch today. Well, you know what? I showed up to work and didn't scream at anybody on Interstate 35, 25, 10, right? Those little wins create that confidence, and that confidence allows you to drive forward. And then when you see that next stop sign, you go, all right, you know what? It's way out there. Let's talk about it. What am I going to be afraid of in this one? This is a new class. This is a new group of leaders. This is a new group of people that I got to work with. A new project. Hey, I'm picking up this chisel for the first time, and it's a new shape. It's not the U shape I'm used to. It's this thing. I'm afraid that I'm going to screw it up, right? Talk to yourself. Find out what is stopping you and find a way around that obstacle. Yeah. That's what I would say that this is really telling us to do. How to convince yourself to do hard things. Convince yourself to do hard things. Convince yourself that it's not going to kill you.
Hey.
And don't be afraid to screw it up. Don't be afraid to screw it up. Screw it up.
Failure's a teacher.
Yes, I agree.
Sometimes failure is the best teacher. Just fail forward. So learn
Yep.
from how you failed. And fail trying to do something. Don't fail in your head and you never ever took the step in the process. You'd be like, see, I knew it was going to be a failure. You didn't even try. What are you talking about? You can't even count that as whatever. Anyways, hey, that was awesome, gentlemen. Thank you guys so much. Look, everybody out there in audio visual land, hey, go do something, try something new, man. Pick up something that you were thinking about doing that's been holding you back. Fear has been blocking you. Man, try it. Go face that lion. There's a book that we have called Chase the Lion that I read in my family book club. Chase the Lion. It's a good book. And then the precursor to that book is In a Pit with a Lion on a Snowy Day. Another good book. Very good book. Good read. Easy read. And if you're like me, it's on Audible. So, and the person reading it to you is awesome. He's the author. He's very
gentle voices.
Yes. Very captivating. He captures the audience. My point is, do something new. Something that's been challenging you. I put in a garbage disposal. I was terrified. It worked.
Nice.
I learned how to paint my truck, which came out really well. Now I didn't paint the whole thing, but I put my teacher had me in there scrubbing and sanding that whole thing down, and I'm in a place of I just want to learn stuff, man. Like I'm really trying to go and just be like, I just want to volunteer for like 30, 60 days, man. Teach me what you can teach me.
Oh yeah.
And so that's my challenge to everybody out there. Do something new. Don't be scared. Check out the show from last night. It was really good. It was with glad Twitch told me you were on this time. Good stream. Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Inspector Nacho, thank you. But it was with my battle buddy from 232 ran, Shamika Tillis. She was the VA Nurse of the Year for 2022. Yes. Very good show. Y'all check it out. And may I see y'all back here. And gentlemen, thank y'all again so much. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Have a good weekend.
Peace, bro.
Peace.
We need to start telling them the article that we're going to read next week.